Hi everyone, welcome to Man United Agenda. We are back. It's Monday evening, and you know what that means? It means the eye test. Yes, the eye test. Joined by Bath Time as usual for the eye test. Obviously we had a game yesterday, Sunday evening. We beat Luton 2-1, and there's a lot of talking points from the game, fresh in your mind as well, which we will be going over. And I think, as you saw from the thumbnail, it's about defending, how to defend, and how to improve our defence, because we conceded again yesterday. We would like to have more clean sheets, as they say. Bath Time's a bit busy, occupied at the moment, so I'm just going to go through.
I'm all right now.
Oh, you're back. You're back. Greetings, yeah. Bath Time. Greetings, man. How you doing?
Hello, Monday. I loved you in Bewitched.
My nose?
The denim. No, the denim. Bewitched, the Irish girl band.
Oh God. Okay, I thought you meant like it was It was Bewitched, wasn't there? There was two shows in the 60s. Bewitched with the
that was the witch that like was a homemaker or something.
That's right. And
is the other one about a genie?
Genie, yeah. What was it called? Something Genie and I can't remember.
I Dream of Genie.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So which one had the one with the twitch?
That was Bewitched.
Okay, there you go.
That's the only one I've seen.
Amazing how we started talking about that. But you're actually not talking about that series from the 60s, are you? You're referring to a pop band, Bewitched.
An Irish girl group. I think one of them was related to Ronan Keating. But they sang that one about, oh, you look like your dad. And they wore a lot of denim, and that's what you reminded me of. I can see Andrews calling you Milli Vanilli.
Okay.
Which I think is a good one as well.
Thank you, Andrew. I'm not mine, but it's my real voice. This is my real voice. Even though I can't sing like Milli Vanilli. Should we go for some comments quickly? Welcome, everyone.
Yeah.
Big up, Andrew. How you doing, Andrew? Nice to see you. Yes, even you say that I'm the only one who came in. No, you're not. It's a full house. Ed Mayhem. Ed, it's funny today. I was looking at a video from the game we had the other day. Solo was in it, Mr. B, and you were in it. I put my arm around you. You said, come all the way down from Birmingham. He's our midfield maestro, playing on the wide side of the midfield. And you're like, yeah. And I thought, yeah. And you played pretty well, bro. Hopefully we see you for the return. United Philosophy is in the house. That's Stefan. Greetings, Stefan. How you doing, bro? I'm glad you tuned in for this one. It's going to be an interesting show today. He's saying, I swear we played bad and won games this season and played well and dropped points. Tactical plan to play badly then, as you say. Well said. It's probably true. We deserve better. How you doing, man? He's giving us enough hearts, not hugs. He said, hello, boyos. Much love. Right back at you, brother. We got, obviously the Milli Vanilli joke. I'm looking at it now. I actually do. I've got that Milli Vanilli slide, haven't I? Girl, you know it's true. I Love Lucy says we deserve better. Right. What was it called again? Is Bewitched and I Dream of Genie.
Is it I Dream of Genie? I Love Lucy was another sort of 50s American sort of homemaking comedy.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, so I Dream of Genie was Larry Hagman, not Bewitched. J.R. Ewing. He's still alive, believe it or not. Still going strong. I think he must be in his 90s. And big up, guys. Stuart Marshall, I haven't seen you for a long time, man. You are missed. Make sure you book an appointment to come back on the show. Hope all is good with you. And Andrew saying here, me too. My girlfriend is called Lucy, but I wouldn't go as far as saying love. As okay, all right. What have we got in store,
Andrew? All right. So we've had a bit of a disaster today. I forgot to post the show until 5 minutes ago, which is why DK Wilson, I suspect, isn't here. He's probably foaming at the mouth somewhere. I've also got to give a shout out to Jeff. I don't know if many of you know this, but Jeff's in hospital at the moment with two banged up knees. So it's not life threatening, but I'm sure he's quite depressed. And like with, if anyone's on Twitter or X or whatever, send him a message. He's a big part of our admin team, and it's really disappointing that Jeff's got such a bad injury. So best wishes from everyone here, Jeff. And the second thing that has gone wrong is that I have tried to integrate GIFs into my PowerPoint tonight, and it hasn't worked. So I'm really annoyed about that. But we're going to be able to do some stuff. And today we're going to spend, I think, quite a long time talking about something that had absolutely nothing to do with the Manchester United game that me, Mr. B, Amonde and Dora have been speaking about all weekend. And it's about defending. So, first of all, I want all of you in chat to consider this, like when you defend the ball, the space, or the man. Right? Because that's all parts of defending, isn't it, Amonde?
Yeah, broken down brilliantly.
So I've broken each thing down a little bit more based off like my own interpretation and understanding of football. But is there anything that like comes to mind when you think about defending these different aspects?
Yeah, I thought someone from the comments was going to shout something out. It's me you talk to, isn't it? Yeah. Right. So when you defend the space, for me naturally, I think the space in behind me. I'm protecting that. I don't want them getting in behind me. I want to defend the space comfortably in front of me, which I can see. Sight is everything. You want to have goldfish eyes. Being a central defender, you need to be looking 360 all around to sort of observe what's going on and check for danger, so I think when you defend in space, you want to defend the space in front of you. It's harder defending the space behind you, because that way you're out of control. You lose control of the situation. So always, even if you have to take a step back, not all this push up high line sort of thing, just take a step back sometimes, observe the situation, read the game, and have everything in front of you so you can see what's going on. Basically, defending a man, simple. You know what you have to do. My brother, we always have an argument about this because he defends like hell.
I know what this is. This is dropping for the space, isn't it?
Well, it's about his man defending. He cannot help himself. I always say to him, bruv, you need to don't get too close to people. What he does is he thinks defending a man is defending a man, like literally hugging him up, like he's going to give him the Lombarda dance or something, put his arms around him and, cause a foul. He does this all the time. When I say to him, get crouched down, put your hand distance on his back and look either side, especially if he's big.
Let's get you full screen for this. Right.
So I say,
stand up and show me.
Put your hand out like that, crouch down and observe and see if the ball's coming to him. You can come either side and pinch him because he's waiting to see where you are. He wants to feel you. He's going like that, waiting to feel you. He will feel you when you got your arms all around him like that. So I always say to him, bro, just sit back, go like that, put your arms around him, and then when the ball comes in, you can tack it in the air like that, have a little 2-yard run, bam, head it, or you can come and pinch the ball before it comes to his feet, or you can make him play that way, But as soon as you start getting too close, he can roll you, he can trick you, he can do anything and draw a foul. Because what he does, he wants to get so close where he can feel the guy. I'm holding on to you like that.
Yeah.
He's so big, my brother. So that's the mistake he made. So my man,
he marks like a girlfriend, doesn't he?
Exactly. Obsessive girlfriend. He takes it literally to man mark. It literally means he's gonna grab you up and grip you and not let go. And then the other one was defending the ball as well. So when you defend the ball, you got to keep the ball's going to come to the man. You got to defend space. When you're defending the ball, you can attack the ball. That's when you have to read the game and attack a ball if a ball's coming in. And if you want to risk that and miss it, then you got problems. But it's all about time and anticipation when to take one of these three options, which you laid down brilliantly. So the space, sit back, observe, make sure you can see everything, eyes, 360. The man, if it's coming to him, how are you going to defend him? How are you going to stop him from turning and getting on goal, or turning and doing something dangerous? Make him play that way. I always playing that way. And the ball, if you can read it and you can time the ball, attack it, bam, get it out of there, clear it or whatever. And you have to make that judgment call straight away.
I'm just going to read some comments out in a bit, but are you all right talking about Kevin Gallen and that Silver chap in New Zealand in terms of like how you defended like tough strikers?
So they're two different players.
Yeah.
To me. So,
hang on, comments.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm giving you time to think. But all we've established is that they're not the same man, which is good, especially if you're marking them. So first of all, we've got Andrew saying get well soon, Jeff. We got DK Wilson in the house. We deserve better saying Battle Bridge Galactica. I think he means Battlestar Galactica. And we've got George, who's here saying defend all three at the same time, which is a typical George comment. We've got United, got Stefan saying drop a like on the stream. Right, so George, first of all, says that your brain is more important than sight. And we deserve better 3 versus 4 or 3 versus 3. Extra man dictates. So he's saying it's situational, which is really, really good point. George is saying if you're a clever player, you can do far less work, which I tend to agree on. However, George has always had this view that football is a race and pace is the most important thing. Your pace is upstairs in your head. We got Richard Herbert. Hello, hope all is well with you, United. Looking good in 2024. Best luck to Ollie at the wheel, new Bayern Munich manager. Is that true? Is Ollie the new Bayern manager?
No way.
I hope so. Now, George, we're actually going to discuss this a little bit later because I don't think you were here last week, but we talked about the aggressive use of centre backs that Ten Hag is doing. So we're going to address this a bit later. And then Andrew says, "Are you a clever player, George?" Andrew, yes. I'm always 5 steps ahead. And United philosophy. Football to me is really about space, how you attack and defend space. I mean, we did shows on that on Rich's channel for about a year. Couldn't agree more. Space dictates the run of the man and determines the direction of the ball. Control the space and you control the game. I think that's brilliantly said. Monday, I want to hear about these 2 superstars that you handled in the leagues.
All right, I'm not. The thing with Kevin Gallen, I was a striker back then, and he was a striker as well. So when I played against him, but I've played against similar players like Kevin Gallen. He's absolutely world class at that age group. So Kevin, Kevin was always bigger and stronger than us as kids. So we're talking like 12, 13 years old.
Do you just want to tell people who he is in case there are some people
Kevin Gallen is related to Martin Allen, Clive Allen. He's one of that family. He actually top goal scorer for QPR, even though took him like 300 something games to play for them. He was in the Championship at one point. He's in the Premiership with QPR at one point. Same age as me, so he's like 48, 49 now. And he was tipped to be an England international, got a bad injury and never really picked it up from there. But I used to play against him for both county, for district, and I played with him for county, and played against school games as well. And what a great player he was at the time. So I think when you come up against someone like that, the first thing you realise is he's much stronger than you, and he's wiser than you at that age. So you'd get moved up, and you try to defend someone like that. It's very difficult. What he done really well, rather than being square, if the ball's coming to him, he's not being square on. He would be side on like that. And so he would have you like that, hold you with one hand, bring the ball. So he wouldn't be square like that. The ball come to him, he'd be side on, ball come to his feet, touch with his feet. So he's got more distance. He creates such distance from the defender. He's got hold of you, he's feeling you, and then he can dictate to you where he wants to go and how he wants to play. He can pop it off, play a 1-2, spin off, or do whatever. Or if you get too close, he's going to roll you and get around you like that. Big, strong guy, but intelligent as well. So this is what made him very, very difficult to come up against, you know. And he used to give me nightmares because you think, wow, this guy, what can you do against him? Pace, I could deal with him. I was really quick. But when it came to sort of intelligence and strength and creativity and knowledge and knowing how to shape up your body as a striker and dictating how the team plays, it was almost impossible to deal with him because I didn't have the knowledge. So Kevin Gallen went on to be a great pro, fair play to him, top guy, top player. Aaron Silva, when I went to New Zealand, he was playing out there. He was like, I think because New Zealand's a bit dated and a bit far behind and the level's not that great. He was sort of like a superstar because apparently you could put on his TV, he played for Chile, you know, at the time, and as an international striker. So he turned up at our club and we were doing things. So I had to mark him in training. We used to do like 11-11s games and everything. So I was thinking, okay, when I saw him, he's down here, little guy. And I thought, easy peasy. I'm just going to rough him up. But the problem was he's obviously used to that. So ball gets played into him. I'm watching him, obviously, thinking, right, you think you're a big man, you think you're a superstar, I'm on you. ball gets played into him. I go rushing in, spin, pop, round the corner, that sort of thing. Gone, missing. So you learn, okay, this guy is going to make me look silly. Or there's one time, I must admit, this happened to me. The ball got played in, and he knew I was coming for him, and he could feel me or smell me or whatever, and he just let it go through his legs and spun off. So he didn't, nothing, the ball wasn't even touched. So I think he had, when you're small like that, low center of gravity, being able to turn, twist, little touches, he'd sort of be very deceptive. So first of all, ball come in, he'd pop it off. Then it's like after that, you think, okay, he's going to pop it off again. Ball goes in, pop it off. Then he'd do something different, So they're always thinking. It's always like a challenge for a defender. But I think I got the better of him because of my physicality. I'm thinking, you can turn and run. I'm going to catch you and clap you. And he didn't like me because I was always fouling him, roughing him up. Because that's my only. He was such a good player. So pisses over me. I couldn't do anything else but just show him I'm going to rough you up all the time. And I don't care if you don't like me. I don't care who you are, your reputation. I'm going to do that every time. So he hated me. He could probably cuss me in Spanish, call me all kinds of names. I don't know. But I knew with pace, if he runs the channel, I eat him up. But it's the ball into feet, like Kevin Gallen. It's a different skill. He'd pop it off, just such good technique, and be able to spin and roll. So you'd have to be. It got to the stage where I couldn't rush in with all momentum to girls because he'd turn that momentum against you and get spin off or roll. So that's where I learned. My friend Davis actually advised me. He said, "Look, we used to go home and talk and say, bro, I'm not having this." And he just said to me, "Just back off, stand, put your hand on his back without even touching him, get that sort of distance, and just bend down low so you can spin out or go. Or if he comes in, you can pinch him, but don't get too close and heavy on him because he wants to feel you." That's basically what he said. And it was good advice because I managed to do that in the end. So there's two different players there, which it's impossible to manage them completely because I wasn't good enough, to be honest, to be able to deal with these guys. They were much better than me. But I tried my best and I used my brain and these three factors that you have to do. Do you tap the ball? Do you tap the man? Or do you just defend the space? You have to make that decision and based on each player. And you don't get profiles sometimes when you come up against players about what they've got. Sometimes you get hurt, they score a brace of goals, and then you realise, that's what they're good at. That's what they do. So you have to learn on this a lot of the time.
To be honest, like as a slow player who's also got a low centre of gravity, I will bite your hand off to have defenders or midfielders running at full pelt at me with my back to them. It's light work. You can easily turn them. So we've got a couple of comments in here. Is this Tabrice, Amateur Football Podcast?
The best centre, he should be on the show talking about defending, bruv. Because he's the best defender in grassroots football.
Just to hang around a bit, Tabrice, because we got a clip that are on the show, and I just don't know how you defend this. This is what we're kind of building to. George is saying that Kevin Gallen was a bit of a Drogba. As a question.
Yeah. Just big and like Drogba, really strong and intelligent.
And Richard is saying that you hold up striker, a bit like Mark Hughes.
Yep.
Apparently, Richard Herbert was manager of the New Zealand side. He wasn't, but the name was Richard Herbert, though, which is quite a coincidence. And George is going on and on about pace. Which he'll do for the majority of the show. Right. So these are the sort of main components of defending, I feel. And I've broken each one down a little bit. So defending the man is basically your man marking a player doesn't have the ball. You go on to him, and the two main considerations is to cut that pass out because the guy's got a man on him. But also, it's to stop the player turning. Yeah. Because, when you turn, you're making the pitch more dangerous. You're making it wider. You can see different things, and it denies the player time, but it gives up space behind. So if the player drops deep and you go with him, man marking him, you're stopping him having time to turn, pick a pass, and all these things. But at that cost, you're giving up ground behind. And that means that your teammates now have to adjust to what you've done. Like you can't leave a big hole in behind for someone to run in. Is this correct, Monday? Is there anything you'd like to add here?
No, that's correct. These are fundamentals. I think you don't think about it, but when you write them down and you sort of break it down, these are the fundamentals of being a defender and stopping. About turning, you do not let people turn on you. The most important thing, because once they do, it's showtime for them, and then you're on the back foot, and you can't. It's hard to sort of trot backwards, or whatever. It's about dictating the play. You want to dictate to the striker how to play. A lot of people think when the ball gets played into feet, you've lost the battle. You haven't, because they can't turn. You make them play the way they're facing, and then I reward that.
Yeah, like turning is, in my experience, turning is the first proper skill that you learn in football. Like, not, obviously kicking and heading and passing and stuff, but the first drill everyone should do is turning, because it's the most important. It's the easiest way to take a dangerous situation for your team into an attacking situation, because you're now facing a different area of the pitch. And then the next thing I did was talk about defending the space. And this, I'm going to be honest, this is more from a midfielder's point of view, because I'm not a central defender or a fullback. But when you defend the space and you're basically backing off and giving up ground, what you're doing is you're delaying that 1v1. You're delaying that duel, because you're inviting the player onto you. And that means that your team can recover into a shape to defend it. So it's the difference between going from a high block to a low block, from a medium block to a low block. You're backing up, you're not committing. And what this does is it gives time to the attacker, but it takes space from the attacker. And every step the attacker takes, he is taking space away from himself, because the pitch is it's a finite length. So as someone advances with the ball, they're chewing up the space. And because you're in a sort of zonal system and you're defending space, you need to be compact. You need shorter distances between your players to remain in that shape. And what that does is that even though you're giving up the space, even though you're giving space to attack, a lot of the available and accessible space is in the wide areas, which is less dangerous. I don't know if I've explained that well. Is this, Amonde, would you see any problems with this?
No, you've explained that really well. It doesn't matter if you're midfield or defence. I think the same procedure applies. You have to be mindful. Like, I love what you're saying about the space gets eaten up, doesn't it? As soon as you're moving, for a defender, you say, all right, you invite them to a space, and then you can engage once it's crucial, once you've got people back or you've delayed it enough. So it's really important. It's all about being control. You control when you engage. But you control what area they're allowed to roam into, or what's a danger area. You have to shepherd people around, and you can do that just by positioning yourself well and managing the space well with your teammates.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this is why I like Virgil van Dijk as a defender, because you have look at that, big up, George. Great mind. Honestly, great minds. And also, I quite like this from George, that the fourth point is the most important. They're all important, but it's it's when you're giving up the space, what you're doing is giving up the dangerous space. So it's you're protecting the important space, and you're giving up less dangerous space. And a player like Virgil van Dijk, he's really, really good at running backwards, and he always runs backwards. You look at his partner, Konate. I think we spoke with Tabrice about this briefly. Konate is a front-footed, aggressive defender that defends the man and the ball. And I think it leads to quite a lot of problems for Liverpool at the top end, such as a goal that they conceded against Real Madrid. I think I prefer defenders to back off a little bit and assess the situation rather than committing that 1v1 duel, because then you're playing into the attacker's hands, in my view, like with the dribbling, the speed, all that kind of stuff. Like, take control of the situation. And Darius, you really are a geek, aren't you? I am, yeah, Andrew, I am. I've actually been thinking about this all day, like about how you defend and things, because we do this on the pitch. We don't kind of think about it too much. It's like natural, but you have to be able to break it down in order to explain why you're doing what you're doing. And the last one, before we get to the fun stuff, is defending the ball. So once again, not a defender, I'm a midfielder, but you attack and defend as a team. The first thing you want to do is stop the ball at source. So if you're thinking about a cross, you want the cross. You don't want the cross coming in, right? But if the ball comes, if you're defending the ball, say you're defending a header, first things first, you need the correct body shape relative to the ball. And you need to be the correct distance.
Sorry, can I interrupt you for 1 minute?
Yeah.
I'm just going to jump off and get the codes to Breeze to come on. I think it'd be important for him to come on because he's a good defender. He knows his stuff. So I'll just jump off.
I'll go through the comments while I wait for.
I'll just be 2 minutes. So to Breeze, I'm coming to get you. A bit like what's that show? Love Island. Isn't it? I'm coming to get you. Soon come.
Yeah. Okay, so we got Bart saying, I apologise, but have you ever been a mod on stream for? I don't remember trolling a comment or picking it apart by silly logic. I made George a mod because I like George, and he's a mod on loads of channels. I think George might be a mod on the United Stand. So, Bart, maybe that's your way of getting unbanned. What have we got here? Robertson tried to defend high up in the left a massive guy. Yeah, maybe George. I can't quite remember that properly. You should focus on trying to master cold fusion. Andrew, I can master very few things in my life. I've got Palace versus Everton on. It's like watching Gloss Drive 10 hours. Yeah, you'd expect that would be a 0-0. Davina, Big Brother. Yes, we deserve better. George is a good dude, but does talk out of his rear end a fair bit. Everyone does that, Andrew. I do that, you do that. Everyone does it. We're not here to judge. Like, we're here to talk about how you defend Haaland, which I'm going to show you a video clip in a second, and I want everyone to tell me what you do. But to get to defending the ball, yes, Monday.
Sorry, I just want to shout out to Breeze. I've sent you a message on your Instagram. The code is there. And we're coming to get you. You're right. It was Davina. I was getting all confused there. So check your Instagram messages.
All right. So defending the ball, Amondo. The first thing you need to do is you need to be in the correct body shape to give yourself the platform to attack the ball, which I think is what you're talking about crouching down low and things like that, being able to spring on your tippy toes. You also need to know your distances. You need to be the correct distance from the receiver to be able to use that physicality to get ahead of them. So it's the difference between a running jump and a standing jump, essentially. You also, when you're defending the ball, you want to be aware of where your teammates are, because they've got to be in position to recover the ball or things. There's no point committing to a 1v1. There's no point committing to absolutely getting that ball if it's going to do nothing. Right? No point in doing it. It needs to be purpose to attack it, to defending that ball. And the most important thing, I feel, is it's a zero-sum result. You either win it or you lose it.
Zero-sum result. So you either win or lose it. Do you want a bit elaborate on that? What do you mean with defending the ball?
It's binary. You either win the ball or you don't win the ball.
Okay, it's a risk.
Yeah, so like if you're like sliding, if you're in a 50-50,
you
either win it or you don't win it.
Okay, yeah.
So when you're defending the ball, not the man, you're trying to get the ball. Right? You either get it or you don't get it.
Gotcha.
Right, so I'm not gonna lie. You might think that this is a bit of waffle, this one, because rarely do you just defend the ball. Right? It's probably one of the least most important components of defending. But do you have anything to add to this, Amondo, in terms of when you're winning the ball?
I do. I'm just if I get myself together here. Oh, here we go. Here he comes. Why don't we ask Tabrice? Sorry, I was getting distracted trying to set him up and bring him on. But Tabrice is in the house, and like I say, one of the best defenders in amateur football. What an introduction! We're coming to get you, and you have arrived on time. Big up to Tabrice, amateur football. Go and check out YouTube channel #1.
Good evening,
Right, Tabrice.
Good evening, Darius.
Have you seen what we've done so far with the components of defending?
Yes, I was just kind of watching the show, and everything that you were saying, Darius, is correct. In terms of course, if you're going to max space, if you're going to go man to man. One thing I would like to add when you're protecting your like box in terms of giving the attacker less space, you're also giving them more decisions, and literally, especially when you're kind of looking at Saturday and Sunday league players, what like makes a good player great is they already have a picture in mind, and literally, if you kind of slow down the play, too many options will always cause a mistake. And
right,
another thing that
is this like when I go to the supermarket and Sarah tells me like I've got to get a fabric conditioner, and I get confused because I don't know if I want to smell like a mountain, a river, a lake, or whatever. There's just too many options in front of me. Like you're confusing people by giving them too many options to attack you.
Correct.
Interesting, that one. I think that's straight from experience. I would never have thought of that.
I mean, this is something I said about McTominay the other day, is that I think you might be right here, Tabrice, because when there's 4 or 5 people making a run in the box versus there's one person who's like made a direct run and is screaming for the ball, it's much easier just to give it to the guy that's screaming for the ball, as opposed to when you got a bloke near post, back post, edge of the box. Like, you do look up and you have to assess which is the best option, and you need to do it quickly. So I can kind of see where you're coming from, but I don't know about you, Amanda. I just rarely think on the pitch. I just do stuff.
You can't. Yeah, it's little things like you come off a game sometimes. We all play football, and sometimes you come off the game and think, how did I do that? Like the other day I was playing and I got myself out of a tight situation. And I think if I was to break down how I did it, I couldn't. It's just from experience. I must have dropped a shoulder, acted I was going to go that way, little Cruyff turn, got myself out of trouble and drew a foul. And then I looked good. It looked good, And I think usually if I was to teach that, it would be so technical, break it down every bit. But it's just a natural thing to get out of situations or to defend. Like with me defending now, I've had to learn the hard way. I'm sure to bring some horror stories as well about, how to defend. But just want to ask Tabrice, do you have to do a study on guys to know what the attributes are? If you're coming up against somebody, 2 strikers, 3 strikers, whatever, do you have to read them, like to know what they're good at and become familiar with them to know how to deal with them better?
Yeah. So the only way I kind of get to do any homework is if I've played against them prior, and we are playing the league leaders this coming Saturday, and we played them a couple of times already in a cup, and of course in the league. And like for me as a defender, I know where their strengths are in the attacking third. Yeah. So literally, there's already been a lot of talk about, without giving too much away, where people are going to be playing. So yeah, that's the only kind of homework and research I can get from players. And sometimes reading a book is one thing, but literally when you're there, having that hand-to-hand combat, that's literally when you know a lot about yourself. and also
Yeah, reading is for cowards. I completely agree. But do you not, Tabrice, do you not like hear stuff like about like, you know, there's a new good player in the league or something like that, and you know you're on it for the Saturday or the Sunday?
oh yeah, I mean, what as in if we're playing against the player, I mean that's listen, I mean, you know, there's always that kind of moment of I won't say doubt, but you know, that kind of anticipation to actually see how good this player is, and actually how I kind of judge someone's footballing ability is how simple they make the game wherever they play. So if it's a centre back or you know, or can literally fullback, it's their positioning. In centre mid, I you know, literally, are they prepared to do the hard yards that other people are not willing to do? And literally, when they do get the ball, do they keep it ticking over? And of course, wingers and centre forwards will also have their kind of I'd say kind of technical abilities. But yeah, you know, that's how I judge a player within first 2 or 3 minutes.
You have to do a quick. It's a risk assessment, isn't it? You have to do a quick risk assessment about what you're up against, and if you don't do that, you're going to be in trouble. And as defending is the most important part of the game for me, because we get all the stick when things don't go right. The players that get the glory, the ones in the final third scoring goals and that, but no one really appreciates the art of defending. And I think today we're going to sort of break it down a little bit more and sort of go into the fine details of this magnificent trade.
Just before we get to the comments, I'd like to say, as a midfielder, I've said this before, you always look at the first touch. Like when the player gets the ball, you always look at the first touch of that. Are they closing the pitch down themselves? You know, are they going at 45 degrees angle, stuff like this? And when you see a player like, I think this is where my fascination with Amrabat came from, because he's got one of the worst first touches I've seen from a professional footballer. Like, you know, it's party time. You can really get at that. You can get at that player because they're kind of marking themselves. They're shut, you know, they're shutting the space down themselves. But with the comments, Anthony Williams is bringing up the infamous height show, which look, Amonde's interested in how tall people are. Don't worry about it. DK Wilson, when a player has the ball and is facing you, where are your eyes looking? It's a very romantic question, Amonde. How do you answer this?
So if a guy's running at me, sometimes with quick wingers or thing, they're looking. Sometimes you want to step in and anticipate reading the ball. That's dangerous, as we saw with Casemiro with his bookings recently. He's trying to pinch the ball and step in or something.
We'll come on to him later.
Yeah, that's a difficult thing to do. So I'm reading the body, the main body. I'm not looking in his eyes. No point doing that. I'm looking sort of from the body down and looking for where he's moving and while he's doing that, I'm trying to shepherd him away from the danger area into an area where it's like it's less dangerous necessarily. So I'm trying to position him. So if someone's right-footed, I want to shepherd them to their left foot, for example. Once I read them, like you said with Tabrice, you do a quick risk assessment. Okay, he's left-footed. Let me get him on his right foot. You know. So these are things you want to be doing while you're delaying him. And so you can delay them by jockeying them, and looking at their body movement, not their eyes, not necessarily the ball, but just their body, which way they're going to turn and twist. But when you see all these step overs and all that kind of thing, the ball's hardly moving. So sometimes you think, oh, I can jump in and pinch the ball. But that's where they're waiting for a lot of the time, and you can draw dangerous fouls. Tabrice?
You know what? I totally agree. It's the lower body, so it's literally from the waist. Yeah, from the waist down. Sometimes the knees can also give it away in terms of if they're going to accelerate one way or the other. And yeah, I'm exactly the same. I always try and put them on the weaker foot or literally shepherd them, down the line.
I'm just picturing men in my head now, and I'm normally looking at the hips, to be honest, like that. So very similar, the sort of midsection. And I also like to jazz it up a little bit by throwing my own like dummies at them. They're doing step overs and stuff. Drop your shoulder and see if it forces them somewhere.
Yeah.
But I've always got the protection of like a back three or a back four behind me, so it's a little bit different. We've got George who's saying he often feels that players will give more space to the quicker players. But which space, George? Space in behind or space in front? I'm assuming you mean space in front.
Space in front. Yeah. I mean, for me, that would make sense. Anyone quick that I'm kind of playing against, as a team, we just don't give up space behind us, because literally that's where they want the ball to go. And it's not every single player, but the quicker players don't normally technically have the ability to literally beat a defender. They can literally just like to have the stare down with the goalkeeper, and that's it.
Yeah. Are you faster, Bruce?
Okay.
Were you fast?
I am pretty quick. I'm not quick at of course I've kind of literally lost like a yard or two, but I am not a Laurent Blanc.
Okay. Larry White.
Don't say Blanc.
All right, we got Rajat in the house. He's saying Hoyland was unlucky not to get a hat-trick yesterday. If he maybe had service to get it. We'll talk about that later. Andrew Williams is talking a bit like Luca and/or Tarzan. And DK Wilson is saying when you're playing basketball and defending, you're looking at the midsection because you can peripherally see the ball. Yeah. You've reminded me. There was something that I wanted to say about that, which is a lot of the time you'll hear talk about someone like Harry Maguire isn't good at scanning, or Casemiro isn't good at scanning or something. When you're in a duel, you have to face down the man and stuff. You do the looking about when they pass the ball most of the time, because the ball is moving and it can't hurt you at that particular moment, and that's how you react to get into shape. So scan when the ball moves. Rajat is saying, do the Ronaldo shop. It helps me evade many defenders most of the time, and he's given himself 8.5 out of 10. And George is saying a judo chop helps him evade defenders every time. And Andrew is saying that he's enjoying it for once. And we've got Stefan, who I think I might get Stefan on this at one point, especially if he's a goalkeeper. My perception is playing mainly as a keeper. One thing that I always try to do is cover the penalty box. I can pick the ball up, so being off the lines, patrolling the box is key to me. Yeah, I mean, like when you play in a high line, like the kind of theory is that the defenders are defending the space in front of them, and the keeper is defending the space behind, which is why you see like I don't know, Jordan Pickford I saw earlier this evening being way out of his box. Edison, Allison, all these players, they're kind of playing as almost a sweeper now. But the main event, boys, how do you defend this? So this is Haaland, and that is Levi Colwell. And I'm going to show you the video. And I've got two central defenders with me. What on earth do you do in this situation, boys? Look at that. I'll just play it two more times. Don't want to get copyright striked. Okay. All right. First of all, Amonde, tell me about the starting shape from... I know that 21, I think, is a left back, but in terms of this shape here, are we in a good position or in a bad position?
Obviously, they have to run back fast, But ideally, you see where 21's looking? He's looking behind him. Caldwell's looking at 21. He should be looking at the ball and the man, in my opinion. So he should be sort of facing, almost sort of side facing. His left shoulder should be facing Haaland, and his chest should be facing the ball, and he should be running back at that sort of angle there, so we can see Haaland's movement, is where he's going to run.
Much more side on.
Side on, yeah. If you can,
like
run
the number 2. Is the number 2
No.
side on for you there?
I think Caldwell's left shoulder should be facing Haaland. So it should be side on.
Okay, right. So it's more open.
And his chest will be facing the play. It looks like the play is on the left-hand side over where number 2's looking. Because that way, you can see, you not get bamboozled by the movement of Haaland. You're going to see where he's running to. At the moment, the issue, I think, with Caldwell here, he's a young player, he's talented as well, but I just don't think he's looking at the man. And he's panicking. But it's happened so fast. This is where experience comes in. And another player who's got 5-10 years experience on him might read it better and anticipate it and stop Haaland getting in on top of him.
Oops.
But I'm interested to hear what Tabrice thinks about that as well, because it's a really good short clip, but so much going on here.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell that Caldwell has no idea where Haaland is. You know, yes, so listen, if you can have paused it there, if I was Caldwell, I'd be so literally where Haaland's right planted foot is, I would be almost goal side of that, you know, of his right foot. So then literally I could see exactly where Haaland is looking to go, because literally right now, Caldwell has no idea where literally Haaland is, because so like now, Haaland has literally got like the key to the city, you know, absolute control. And now this is where Caldwell is in trouble, because literally now he's ball watching. Now he's ball watching now more than anything else, rather than, for me, taking control of the space. He is, you know, literally he is kind of now in a whole heap of trouble.
Got to jump on him.
Yeah, this is the bit that interests me, is that when the cross comes in, he checks and he stops. And Haaland, because he's made that sort of like into out run, it still has all his momentum. And then look.
Yeah.
Up early, Caldwell hasn't jumped, and he just gets monstered. I mean, as a small man, this is a massive fear to me, because I find myself in the channel, and I haven't played against anyone the size, or I haven't played like anyone like Haaland, but I played big guys, and all I do is just try and mess up their jump, because I can't compete with them. But this is, I mean, Jesus, what a monster this man is, just there. So, Monday, have you got anything? Yeah, Tabrice, talk to me.
Yeah, so of course, Caldwell's is like right foot plants. If you're gonna go on a little bit more, yeah. So literally, you can tell that his right foot. So like he's kind of planted his like right foot, because he can already knows now. Oh crap! You know what? The ball is gonna go into an area where I was half a second ago. But of course, Haaland, you know, his kind of literally body shape is kind of literally just at such an angle where he's literally going to win the ball regardless. I think if Caldwell slowed down for an extra second, I think he would have made it harder for Haaland. I'm not saying that Haaland wouldn't have won the header, but he would have made it a lot harder. So
like back here?
Yes, there. Like if he would have stopped there, I think he like kind of would have definitely made it a lot harder for the Haaland, because actually attackers or centre forwards do not like any type of physical contact, because again their primary objective is to score a goal. Anything else is just an issue. And again, us centre backs, any centre forward that gets a shot or literally scores a goal, we want them to really work for that opportunity. And literally, I just don't think that Haaland had to do that much to actually work this opportunity for himself.
Yeah, you know,
what I find. Go ahead, Amondo.
Yeah, so going back to the three fundamentals that you went back to from the start, you said how you defend the ball, you defend the ball, you defend the space, you defend the man. So I think with Caldwell here, he's being a bit one-dimensional. First of all, he wants to defend the space in behind. So he's thinking if there's a ball cut across into that area, the 6-yard box, he wants to be there. So he's got there, and then suddenly he's like, oh, I'm supposed to do the other jobs as well. I've neglected defending the space. I've defended the space. Now I've got to defend the man and the ball as well. So it's too late. It's too late now. You've got back in defending the space, but while you're doing that, you have to incorporate defending the man, stopping him getting a jump on you, and watching the ball. There's a possibility. Look where the ball ends up. If you were in a position like Tabriz is saying, maybe slowed it up a bit, you could have actually defended the ball as well. Yeah, so it's 3 decisions to make in a split second. This is only seconds. This is, and he's got to decide what he has to do there. And I think that's the difference between top class centre backs, because you learn from horror shows, don't you? You learn from your mistakes, and hopefully, I think Caldwell's got enough about him to learn from this. And if he really analyses it or watches our show, he'll realise he has to sort of think quicker and just focus on a thing. He knows Haaland's there. You can be attracted by it. A lot of strikers can intimidate you, because you think, right, man mark him, like I was talking about my brother earlier, thinking, right, that's the job, man mark him. But you can mark him without actually, it's like art of fighting without fighting, in a way, Bruce Lee used to say.
Yeah.
Basically means you don't have to get physically close to him, but you can deny him the space and you can deny him the ball without actually having to mark him. So it's like there's 3 factors. You could use 2 of them and without having to man mark. Do you understand what I'm saying? Or you could use defend the space and defend the man, and you don't have to worry about the ball. Do you see what I mean? So
yeah.
2 out of 3. I think Caldwell was blinkered there, just focused on defending that space, getting back. I've got to get back, defend that corridor of uncertainty, and then suddenly he's like, now I'm here. I didn't think about the other 2 options.
All right, should we see what the comments are saying, gang? George is saying it's almost as though being a giant is a massive advantage in the air. Stefan is saying just cross your fingers and pray, because that's not a man. That's the T-1000 from Terminator Lance. The single and only thing the defender should do is defend the ball. Okay. The player cannot hurt you. I don't know about this, George. His only other option is to get touch tight to Haaland and attempt to bully him by jockeying with him. George, come on. And got a question for you, Tabriz. That slowing down, you said it, was going to ask if slowing down earlier allowed for getting hands and or body on Haaland. It really is a lot like playing defense in basketball.
Yeah. So regarding that phase of play, I've been in that situation before, where a cross is going to come in, and maybe 2 seconds before the cross comes in, I always check my shoulder to see exactly where the centre forward is, and I actually check myself and I actually go towards the centre forward, because I know, again, that centre forward does not want me around him at that particular time. Even if he wins the header and and the kind of goalkeeper saves it, then I've done my job, because I've made it that one step more difficult for him to get that clean header.
Yeah.
So I've actually learned exactly what Yaba had actually said. I've actually played where I've got underneath the ball because I've been attracted, to the cross, rather than actually checking myself, taking that extra 2 seconds, which may seem a lot of time, but actually, if you know exactly where your like fullbacks are, it's absolutely fine. And just trying and get touch tight to to the people in the danger area, because that's the only way someone is going to score, by getting that ball into the central area for them to actually get any type of clean hit.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's like as a midfielder, when you're like looking around to see where your like defensive unit is, I'm not looking around then. Like I'm only looking when the ball is passed. And I noticed it a lot with fullbacks, especially at United. I can remember, was it Anthony Gordon got in on the blind side of Wan-Bissaka? Or it could have been Delo. Because Delo was scanning like a midfielder. And I remember thinking I'd probably get done in that position as well, because you need to look at the guy who's crossing to kind of see, to kind of approximate where that ball is going to go. So I think that's really interesting that, like, as a defender, you are actually like looking at your sort of defensive structure around you and the spaces, not necessarily between the opposition and yourself, but your teammates, to inform you of what choice to make.
I think also, like Tabrice was saying there about getting around. Tabrice is a big guy, so if you get close, if he gets close enough, it just makes it awkward for them to sort of jump over you. You wouldn't have that situation like Caldwell there. So I understand that, but also a good striker will attack the space. So it's like if you get too close to him, he might be able to get away from you and attack that space to get in on goal. So I don't know there whether I would prefer to get back in my zone like Caldwell did and then deal with it, or slow it up a bit and get with a man and go with that, knowing that he's going to suddenly attack a space. So if you're going to do that, I think you should. It's like sometimes you say, right, say on a set piece, say a corner, a guy. This happens a lot with us. We concede a lot of corners for our Sunday side. You'd mark a guy, and he'd drag you all the way out, and then as soon as the corner comes in, he'd just run ahead of you and get, attack the near post and get a flick on. And I'm saying, well, why did you get mugged off there? You should. He's clearly mugging you because he's dragged you away from the position so he can run into that space. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So rather than that, just say, okay, you've come out of my space now. You've gone to a plane. I'm not going to go with you. I'm protecting the middle here, the danger
to the zone.
When you come, so when you come into my zone, that's when I'm going to pick you up. So you don't need to get dragged out. My brother does this all the time. He said, right, who's got who? We're Mark. And suddenly, the guy's dragged him well out, and then he comes running in, does a little jockey, beats him, and comes in ahead of him, and then it's too late to do anything about it. It's a danger. So it's so many things.
I know, and
so many things.
Do you know what, Amonde? You see so many like Premier League players who you got to remember they weren't just the best in their village or like on their estate or whatever. They were the best in their age group. They don't know how to deal with Haaland a lot of the time. Like, and you see them panicking and making ridiculous choices and stuff like that because he's an insanely good striker. Like the movements he makes there are crazy. But we're going to move on from Haaland now, and we can go one or two directions. Either with all this thinking about space and how to defend stuff, we can look at the Luton goal, or we can talk about how players should close down and why Casemiro is constantly getting yellow cards.
Tabrice, you want some of this?
You know, I mean, it's your channel, so I'm happy either way.
Well, you're the guest. There's the menu there. You just have to choose a meal.
Yeah.
I'll go for Casemiro then. Go on then.
Yeah, I want.
All right, we'll go. Did you want that one as well?
I want the goal. I wanted this one. This one's interesting.
Okay. Why always him? Look, DK Wilson, we'll try and do both. The thing is, right, I thought we had a little content for tonight, and we've done an hour without showing an animation yet. So, Tabrice, tell me what you think about Casemiro. You're a Liverpool fan, aren't you? You're dirty so-and-so.
I am a Liverpool fan, so yeah, I will literally keep my conversations about United very brief.
All right, what do you think to Casemiro?
You know what? I think he's an absolute legend, and I think he's going to go down as like one of the best holding DMs in his generation.
Okay. That's very kind of you to say. Right. Now, this is something that I'm very comfortable talking about because this is about midfield play. And this is close down, slow down, and showdown, which anyone who's ever received any level of coaching will recognize this. So this is kind of my issue with Casemiro. And this is why I think he gets booked all the time, is that when you are closing the space down in front of you, so the man has turned and he's coming at you, you have to apply pressure and limit his passing options. And normally you do this by getting your body in between the ball and the goal, which is, if you're a central midfielder, that is pretty much 90% of your defensive work is know where the goal is, know where the ball is, and get yourself in front of it and show them a side, right? Because you want the ball to go out wide. That is, but you can't go past you. You want it out wide or back. So you have to quickly get out and apply that pressure. But as you're getting out, you need to slow down. You have to take shorter steps, because otherwise it's a bit like the boys are saying here, like when a defender just runs in a straight line at you, very easy to turn, very easy to spin. The longer your stride, the harder it is to turn. Okay. Right? So little steps as you come out, allowing you to sort of go with the man. Ideally, you want to kind of be side on so you can spring both ways pretty easily. And then the showdown bit is just use your body, you get a hand on the man a little bit, you get your hip in there, your knee in there, you make the challenge, you don't make the foul. Very simple stuff. All right? Do any of you or anyone in chat have any issues of this is how you close down space?
No, I just want to say the way you described about shorter steps, that makes a lot of sense in this situation. Yeah, because you have to, with football, you see the drills they do now, quick feet, turn, twist out. Your knees need to be good in that situation. You need to be able to turn and go quickly and be explosive. So yeah, that makes sense in this situation to me.
It's so important, the short steps, right? This is why Martinez is a really good box defender, because he's got little legs and he takes shorter steps. So any sort of, like, when you have players, I don't know, like Messi, who like every sort of, like, it's not even a touch, it's like a texture that they apply to the ball. They're always trying to manipulate the balance of the players around you, and shorter steps allow you to compensate for that and then be able to go. So on this channel, Tabrice, we have a massive fan favourite in midfield, which is the Shetland pony, Amrabat. And I'm going to show you a clip of Amrabat attempting to close down space. And maybe you'll understand why I think he's the funniest man in world football. So we can't show this too much, but check out Amrabat trying to do close down, slow down, and showdown. All right, I'll just show it again. So everyone can see Amrabat.
Yeah.
Look at him trying to take short. Look at that. I'll show it one more time. But this is actually right. This is actually kind of what Amrabat should be doing in this situation. But you can see little steps trying to close the angle. Doesn't quite get it right. But that is that's an example of the slow down, of the close down, slow down, showdown. And let me find the clip, because actually we'll just do some comments. I haven't done some comments for ages, but I did promise you all there would be an Amrabat clip. A lot of people have suggested the reason for Casemiro's downtown's form because his legs are gone, which is about pace and energy. Tabrice, it seems Casemiro has lost a step. For someone playing central like him, how does he adjust and still be effective?
See, now it's all about reading the game. Sometimes you don't have to be the quickest to be the most effective. And, again, correct me if I'm wrong, Casemiro is your deepest line midfielder. So with his experience, he should be aware in terms of where the potential fire could actually be. So, he now has to use his experience to kind of get him into that position to actually block out that fire. And again, I think that's what what's his name?
DK
Kante
Wilson
was really, really good at.
Oh,
Especially when Kante's, because again, I think people underestimated, even when Kante's legs went, literally how he was still able to read where the fires were going to be. So yeah, that's kind of how I think Casemiro now has to start playing.
well, I mean, for me, it's one of the key things I think for any footballer is knowing your distances, which is like knowing like if you can get out to a certain player within a certain time. And the point that I'm trying to make with closing down space is that Casemiro is not slowing down. That is the big problem with his defensive work, is that he doesn't know his distances and he's going in too hard without that deacceleration that you need to deal with people. And I've got a clip now from this is an animation from the Luton game showing why I think Casemiro is getting into so many problems on the pitch. So Amonde, would you let me know when I'm on screen?
You're up.
Yeah.
Just if you can just enlarge. Yep.
Okay. So 15th minute. This is a free kick that Barkley is taken. Would you like to talk us through it, Amonde?
Sorry, one sec. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah,
so
you see where the ball is?
Luton. Barkley's got the ball. And he sprays it to Bell at centre back. Gets closed down. He plays it wide to Doughty, who loves to whipping crosses. He plays it infield to Barkley again. And he plays to the Conga, and it gets played back home and all the way back. So
let's look at Casemiro's position, Amondo.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. One more time to Breeze, if you've got anything to say on this before we rip it to shreds.
Okay. Well, I can see Casemiro going over there to. Okay, so he's gonna go out to Barkley, and then of course, let the ball breaks down and it goes all the way back to Luton. Can I see it one more time?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's gone over to help Varane on that right hand side, but of course he's kind of conceded for space in the middle of the park, and then gets out to Barkley, and then they play it backwards. Okay.
All right. Should we go through this, gents?
Yeah.
All right. This is a poor position for United. We're not in a very good shape because we've conceded a free kick. Barkley's taken it quickly and opened the pitch up, which is really, really good. The first thing we've got is a 2v1 in this zone here and no pressure on the ball. We're playing 3-5-2, so it's difficult to say who should come out to the ball. Garnacho does it. Okay? Odd decision, happened a lot in the game, but Garnacho's put pressure on the ball and he's done it okay because he's trying to cut the pass out to Doherty there. So he's basically sort of bent his run to deny the strong side of the pitch. Below, you'd assume that is his man here now and that he's going to get a bit tighter. Kobe is the wrong side of Chon. Chon is in between the lines and he is going to run the channel. So Kobe, what you would expect here is for Kobe to go with him and Casemiro to step up and take Kobe's place here to stop central balls. Yeah?
Yeah.
There is a miscommunication.
Yeah.
Like Casemiro and Varane have they've just got this, they've muddled this up where Varane was going with Chon and then he stops. Casemiro was going with Chon. Kobe is going with Chon, but Kobe's the wrong side. So one of these players should actually be going out. But they get this wrong, and Barkley is a little so-and-so because we've now vacated that area of the pitch. And when the ball gets played in, distances.
Yeah.
Casemiro's got to close Barkley down here. And you can go and check. It's like 15-13 or something. Casemiro doesn't close down. He doesn't slow down, and he doesn't show down. He just runs in a bloody line straight at Barkley. And this is something that Casemiro has been doing all season. And we get let off the hook here because they choose to recycle, and then that guy just boots it there for some reason. But this is really, really poor play from someone who should be who should know much, much better. So
but I mean, as the senior player, so literally when Kobe and Chong are going, isn't it Casemiro's duty now to like tell Varane to go with Chong and let Kobe stay exactly where he is at this present moment in time? And literally that kind of comes down to communication.
Not for me. Not for me. Like Kobe's the right-sided midfielder, and this guy's going to run the channel all day. You don't really want Varane getting sucked out into this position here, because but then like Casemiro is here.
Yeah, but then Casemiro will actually go back as the centre back, as like someone that you would think that's kind of got the experience to actually do, and then literally live, and then leave Kobe where like Barkley's now going to go into the
so Kobe would be here.
Yes.
In this area here.
Yeah. And then...
I mean, I can't say you're right or wrong. What I can say is that when a midfielder makes a channel run here, and the fullback has a man, it's his job to go with that runner, because you then protect the structure of the back four. What you don't want is teams pulling your centre backs into wide areas. For me, and this is for Ten Hag. But what I will give you is that Kobe doesn't have running power, and Chon is the wrong side. So one of these two players probably has to react to it. Because if that ball gets played now down the line, Kobe isn't mobile enough to get out and stop Chon. So someone's got to get out to it. You're correct. But the problem is here. This is poor from Kobe, because Kobe needs to be that side. But they've now got access into the middle of the pitch. And regardless of how we've got there, Casemiro can't be running at Barkley like this. He's got to do the principles of football of close him down, slow down, and then challenge him. The showdown.
Could have been a lot worse. I mean, obviously they made it back home, but getting that sort of time and space in the middle of the park, not contested, is dangerous against better teams. We're going to be in serious bother. I do think it's a communication issue. Obviously, Casemiro doesn't speak great English. I think someone like Henderson at Liverpool, because he's familiar with Tabriz, I've seen him play live. I've heard he talks so much on the pitch, and people love him because he's always so organised. You know exactly what you're doing. I think with Casemiro, it could be a case that the language barrier is hard to sort of get people.
Him and Varane.
Not him and Varane, but him and say
Kobe.
Kobe, sorry, yeah. Dalot speaks Portuguese, doesn't he? But yeah, just familiarity. I think you need good talkers, and I think this could also be a communication issue. But I think you're right about the fundamental issues that Casemiro has with closing down. He does get so many bookings, and that, for example, he's already given the guy so many yards. He's not close enough, and that's how once again it's like, okay, let me catch up. And by the time he gets there, the guy is dictating to him what to do, and that's how you can draw fouls. So that I think that's what it is bath time. What I like, I think sometimes the illustrations, I'm expecting something spectacular to happen, but initially I'm like, okay, what's going on here? But when you really break it down, it is spectacular because it is highlighting something that you don't tend to see. And I can't wait. I'm going to go and check 13 minutes to see what actually went down there, because it's giving up that sort of space is crucial. And sometimes I'm watching the game, I don't really take it all in to understand how that space was given up in the first place. So I think we've highlighted an issue there.
Well, I've got more stuff which is more about our sort of build-up shape. I mean, like I'll tell you what I've got on the menu tonight. I've got some really weird stuff that we were doing in our build-up that I don't like. 3-5-2, and then I've got some stuff on how Ten Hag actually changed it in the second half to allow us a bit more control of the game and how that worked. So hello, Lolly.
Big up, Lolly.
And
big up Big G as well. He's in the house.
Oh, is Big G here? Nice. Hello, Big G. All right, I'm going to show you some build. I'm going to show you some build up. I think. Just let me press some buttons. Can you let me know when I'm on screen?
Yeah, sure.
Monday. Okay. This is more build up problems from United. This is just 1 minute beforehand. This is the 14th minute. Aye. All right, talk me through this.
Okay, so centre back plays it to the middle centre back. It's gone back out to the left centre back, who drives forward, crosses the halfway line, pops into Doughty, gets pinched.
That's it. Do you see the problem?
No.
Tabrice, do you see the problem?
So Garnacho is tracking Doherty back. Kobe goes. No, actually, I don't. I don't.
All right, fair enough. This is something that was a consistent sort of pattern of play that Luton were doing, and it's the problems of a 3-5-2. You got Doherty and Garnacho here, and we're in a 4-1-1-4 block. So the idea is that this block here is going to block off the space behind, so that they can only go out wide, and Casemiro is going to basically sort of sweep on the strong side to pick up any runners between the lines. And the free man, unfortunately, is always going to be the wide player out here. But here, Garnacho goes with Dowie, I think he's called. And then there's a massive hole here, right? Rasmus can't cover this ground, so it's going to go out to Bell. As it comes out to Bell, he makes a poor choice here and drives with the ball into the space where what he should be doing, and a better player will commit Kobe here, and will then have a route into Barkley, and you can see once again the distances between Casemiro and the guy here aren't great. And as the ball gets played in here, we'll let off the hook again, because there is a passing network out here, because there's not enough men protecting the center of the pitch, and Garnacho has gone off here, so Kobe has to go out, and you've now got access to the middle of the pitch, and Casemiro, he doesn't know his distances. He is too far away from Barkley, their technical player. And that's the problem that I have with this.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense again.
Yeah, makes sense.
Like I say, initially I couldn't see it. So to go over and over again. You've highlighted a good point there. So you initially Garnacho the reason why he's allowed to run in that space because Garnacho's he's gone with the guy. We've gone with Doughty.
Yeah.
So are you saying that Garnacho is too honest in that phase of play?
Yeah, like Garnacho should be here, and he should be passing Dowie off to Delo, and Casemiro should be coming back to look after Chon. That's what a proper football structure would be here. Because what Garnacho's done is he's broken the block. He's gone off and broken the block, which is like, look, the guy, what is he, 19, 20? He's going to make decisions like this. It's pretty rare to play against a 3-5-2, especially with a 6'5" like left back like Dowie. But Delo should be getting out here. He should be here, and Casemiro should be coming across to Chon here. And then you've got in this space here, you've got a +1. You've got a +1 if he's on Chon with Shaw being the +1, and you're all right. You're protected on this side, and they've got to work it across here, and then obviously the block can come over. This is basically the pattern of play that was getting Luton so much space in between the lines. Right. Was their wing backs were pushing up and pinning Garnacho and Rashford on the other side back, and the space was too big in between the lines. And because it's a 4-1-4-1 block, it was Casemiro that I think was the real problem, because he wasn't blocking passing lanes. All he was doing was dropping. And because he dropped so much, this is why he had 4 clear yellow cards in the first half, because he's given himself too much distance to cover, and then he's not covering that distance correctly.
So this is something that because of Casemiro's age, he'll be 32 soon. So this is something you imagine can be coached. If this was an under-14 side, you could coach this out of them, couldn't you? But I think the issue is that Casemiro's 32. Tabrice said he's a legend, and I think so as well. But there is an error in his game, it seems, has been highlighted since he's come to Man United. You say Real Madrid. Maybe they're not in situations like that for the national side or Real Madrid too often. But clearly, with his bookings, he was sent off twice last season. And he does make a lot of dangerous challenges. He had to be subbed yesterday because of the risk of yellow cards, because of what you're suggesting here, which I agree with you totally, Barthan. He's not getting close enough. So short steps, slow down, close down, show down. So close down, slow down, and show down. To get close to someone, in theory, it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, well, check out the main man doing it. Look at him go! Little arms. Watch his little arms.
The balance, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's doing the all right. He's doing all right here, but I think actually I'm gonna call it here, because there is some more stuff, but I don't think it's particularly interesting. It's just about the difference in how you defend a 3-5-2 using a 4-4-2 block versus a 4-1-4-1. And I really think that we need to find a role for Casemiro sooner rather than later, because the one he's playing in, he's become a liability, because whether it's age or unable to read the pace of the Premier League, he's not performing to anywhere near the required standard in his main role, which is blocking passes, taking men into the channel, etc.
Can I ask Tabrice, you're a Liverpool fan. I mean, with what we highlighted here about Casemiro and the issues he's got there, I think, is it McAllister would be most similar to him? Do you have any similar issues like that since Fabinho's left?
Well, I mean, I think at Brighton he wasn't really a number 6. He was kind of more as a number 8, and we saw a lot of frailties, especially at the beginning of his tenure at Liverpool.
Okay,
I have seen that he isn't like the best player in terms of covering either the second or third run. Do I think you can coach someone to literally anticipate something like this? Yes. However, exactly what everyone said is that sometimes in the heat of the moment, your concentration and that split second decision, can actually cost you 2 or 3 yards, especially when it comes to the elite game. So yeah, I've seen issues with McAllister. I prefer Endo in that position because he covers that area a lot more. Even though he's a lot more aggressive in his play, it's the fact that he is always on the front foot. And if you look at Liverpool's, was it second goal? Oh, was it second or third goal? It was literally Endo that actually started off the play by literally winning almost like a 50-50 ball to, I can't remember which player, but literally it was Endo that actually started off that phase of play. But no, I kind of believe, we are kind of talking about fine lines, and exactly what Darius has kind of broken down. You can imagine at Manchester United HQ, they've gone through this over and over again, and have told Casemiro exactly where he should be in every moment of every beginning of every situation. And yeah, it's going to be a very interesting summer to see if Casemiro will still be at United.
Yeah. Just to quickly say, I saw some data today about Endo. Very, very similar data to Rice from Arsenal about what you said there, exactly what you said about closing down, intercepting the ball. He's got high data in that respect. So you're right from what you've seen with your eye test. It shows in the stats as well. He seems like a good player. Short steps.
Short steps, yeah. Should we look at some comments?
Yeah.
We got George. I'm not sure that many players will be able to switch ball quickly as he suggests the right wing without the player having time to recover and move across. The point is, George, right, is that the block doesn't move at the same pace. So when you move the ball from side to side, especially as a match draws on, what you're looking to do is find gaps in that block to pass in between the lines. This is why people are obsessed with two-touch football, because it means that players are constantly having to move. You try to tire them out, get that organisation or raggedy. I mean, these are Premier League players. They can move the ball faster than you can imagine. That it's precisely what they're trying to do: move the ball from side to side, keep the pitch as wide as possible, and widen all the gaps. And we got Suze. Hello, Sue. I love her profile picture. How you doing, Suze? I hope everything's all right. And we got Lolly. Seems to me Casemiro is often left all by himself. We could play with two in a pivot to help him out. What are your thoughts on that, Amonde?
Yeah, we've seen that. We've been discussing that all year about someone dropping in to help him out when we haven't got the ball. Because obviously, when you got the ball, it's different. But when you haven't got the ball, there's a suggestion that one of the eights, whether it's Bruno or McTominay or whoever's in that position, should drop in and help out. But I think what the style of play is, we want to go man to man or get close to these guys. So these 2-8s, there's pros and cons, isn't it? For if you play 2-8s and push them on and try to push high up the pitch and get close to the guys. This is why we have so many transitions in the final third, for example, because these guys are closer to the opposition. Then that's the advantage. The disadvantage is that there's going to be a single pivot left alone, which is Casemiro. I think the personnel is important here. I think Casemiro can't do the job effectively, whereas someone younger who can get, like you said, has to cover two areas, the strong side, the weaker side, could perform that a bit better. But if you did have a double pivot, then you're a bit weaker with the transition. So you got to think of a style of play. Ten Hag's got a style of play. He wants to push guys up higher at the pitch. That's what he's decided to do. And the sacrifice is someone in Casemiro's position.
Yeah, I mean, So the double pivot is more of a playmaking system where one of the pivots will drop in to create a back three, and that means that you're able to move out on either side. It's less defensive, to be honest. What we're doing is we're defending in a block, and Casemiro is picking up the men in between the lines. So when you say he's left all by himself, that might be true, but normally it's because the block isn't tight enough and it's letting balls through the middle. The problem that we're sort of seeing against Luton and other teams is that Casemiro is leaving too much space between him and the man that he's meant to be picking up, and then he's not applying the correct technical running. Basically, he's not slowing down when he goes in, which is why you constantly see him sliding. You constantly see him cleaning men out and things. And when Casemiro got his first yellow card, that was his fourth foul where he could have picked up a yellow. He was doing it all match, just charging in. So it's not that he's left by himself. It's either he isn't positioned correctly or the block isn't doing its job, because loads of teams play this way and they're nowhere near as porous as we are. So I understand the point that like Casemiro needs a helper with him, but normally you need the helper with you for building up, not for defending, because he's got four men in front of him trying to stop the ball coming through. So thoughts, Tabriz?
No, no. You know what? You are absolutely correct. I've got nothing to say. Absolutely right.
Thank you for that. Well, I think we're going to end it here. I had so much more that I wanted to do, but we've had technical problems and things like that. I really want to look into rotations and movements, like the difference between a movement and a run and things like that. Which, to be honest, like all our attacking play against Luton was just banging it out into a wide area and doing like really boring transit. All right, ETH plan. Very quickly, very quickly, George. Let me get this up. Can you tell me when I'm on screen, Amonde?
Yep, you're up. Enlarge.
All right. This is the first half, George. So this is the block that we're talking about here. And Rasmus, right? He's got two jobs. His first job is to shut off one side of the pitch. Also, by the way, notice that this block is on a diagonal, which I'm a big fan of because it means if the ball is switched, Garnacho has to do less running.
By the way, thanks for the tip you gave me about diagonal for my Sunday team. We beat a top division team based on this, which is really effective.
Yeah, it eliminates running. Diagonal's key to football.
Oh, really? Could you literally explain why? Because
let me just. I was playing against a team which my team's not very good, to be honest. We were playing against a first division team pre-season, and they keep the ball really well. They play like Brighton, they play like Man City. That's how they're drilled, you know. A young coach who's come on the show, fantastic coach, and they keep the ball so well and just stretch you to bits. And it was a hot, sunny day, and I spoke to Bath Time, and we came up with a strategy. He said to play a diagonal midfield, so that way, if they play between the lines, someone will be there. So if they're playing on the right, for example, and they get in between the lines, Garnacho is already, rather than being square up and not lots of space, Garnacho is already back in there to help out, if you understand. So it's compressed in the space in between the lines. It really helped us a lot. And the guys took it on board, and we denied them a lot of space.
Oh, okay.
So right, this is the theory, Tabriz, right? Ball goes out here, your block is going to move over, right?
Uh-huh.
And you're going to give up the space out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you are on a diagonal like this, it means that if the ball is switched, Garnacho has less running to do because he's on a diag. So whereas if he's straight, so if he's out here and the block is like this, and he is straight, he's got much more running to do. So what you
Okay,
want to do is you want to stagger, and you want to be in a diagonal because it saves your legs. So are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm actually happy. I am literally going to clip what you've just said, and I'm going to give this to my coach.
Okay. Well, this show started off with the Monday trying to steal coaching tips for his team. So it's nice to see it carries on. But George, this was the plan in the first half, right? This is our first half team. We're all right across here. We've got a +1 with Varane. See, these are marked. There's the +1. Casemiro is going to go on the strong side and cut the ball off to the two in between the lines. Easy. But the problem is that Rasmus has a hell of a lot of running to do because he's got to block off one side of the pitch so that the block can come across like that. And the ball gets across. He has to run out. He has to do so much work. So what you would normally expect is you'd expect Rashford to come out and help him. And then he would get there and the ball would get forced back. But as you saw in that other clip, Luton's fullbacks were starting in kind of interior areas and then going wide, trying to drag players out, and we were getting pulled all over the shop. Okay, does anyone have any disagreements with that from what we saw in the first half? All right. So in the second half, he brought McTominay on. And this isn't about McTominay being amazing or whatever, but it meant that there was an extra body up here making it harder to get through the lines. Okay. So instead of one person doing all the running, McTominay was doing the running. And the key thing is that when the ball got out into a wide area, you would have Rashford going out, Bruno protecting the channel, and then McTominay would drop into here, allowing us to have more men in the centre of the park. And that also meant that when we won the ball, we had pace mismatches on either flank. And we also had Bruno running through. And that is essentially what Ten Hag changed. It's very, very simplistic, but it actually worked really well. And it gave us far more control in the second half. So I hope that is of some use to someone.
That's very good. Very good.
Yeah.
About subtle adjustments like that, I wouldn't have noticed that or been able to break that down. Yeah, but Tommy has got the legs to get up there and stop them from playing out from the back, and then suddenly to get back in as well. Yeah, very effective. And but Tommy was subbed for Casemiro. That's right.
Yes, and Casemiro got your boy taken off because Maguire had to take that yellow because Casemiro had to put out a challenge. Well. Yeah. And it's so disappointing that we got this player who, when he's on a yellow, he can't play. It's not. I mean, he's a legend of football in some ways, Casemiro, but he seems to be a massive liability to the team. How can you not play football when you're on a yellow card?
Well, he let one go, didn't he? I think Barkley
let two go.
Just went like that. All right, I'm not touching you now. You know.
Yeah. All right, are we done, gentlemen?
Yeah. Fantastic. Honestly, really good stuff.
Oh, hang on. Just before we go, here's Jeff. I hope your knees are better, Jeff. If you check the start of the show, we gave you a big shout out and everyone sent you their best wishes about those knees of yours. And we hope that you get better soon.
Did you see that challenge that Mason Holgate made?
Oh,
Jesus Christ. Is that Matrix?
I haven't seen anything like that for a long time in the Premiership. I think those sort of challenges have been sort of out of the game, but it was so high and so reckless as well. And I'm thinking, what are you thinking to actually do something like that? That's what I was thinking about Jeff. When Jeff was saying about his knees and everything, you just think, wow. It was on the Japanese guy, wasn't it?
Minamoto or whatever it's called.
Yeah. I mean, would you press criminal charges?
Well, you laugh, but was Duncan Ferguson not put inside for a bit?
That's for a headbutt.
Yeah.
I suppose it could be. class as something ruthless. It's just ridiculous to come in like that and follow through like that. It's not the 80s, you know. You can't get away with that anymore.
I thought Rashford actually was at danger of the red at the weekend because I think did Mengi poke him in the eye or something?
He got an elbow or something.
He got an elbow, didn't he?
He acted badly.
Yeah, and then he just went and kicked someone out of pure anger and spite. I remember thinking,
you know what? He should have got booked for that. I remember seeing that. He should have got booked, but he did.
What do you think, Tabrice, what do you think was told to Mason Holgate? Why would he start the game like that?
Brother, I have no idea. So early in the game, it's kind of not as if he's tired. I have no idea. I mean,
bad Valentine's.
It's not a receipt for something previously. I just don't know.
No, I mean, you know, you are kind of putting yourself in a situation where the manager and the players do not trust you, which is the worst thing that you could ever be, especially in a team sport. I'm not saying that, you know, that result has cost Sheffield United, but
it could.
Well, you know what? Like it could. Yeah, it's true.
Goal difference as well.
It's very true. Very true. As a defender, you are supposed to be one of the calmest people on the pitch. It's a very selfless position, and when you are making rush challenges, rush tackles, you are just going to be you are just not good for the club, for the supporters, for the players.
I mean, what do you say to that lad in the changing room afterwards?
You are very honest. There are very like term honest professionals. We don't talk about them a lot, and I can imagine in that Sheffield United dressing room, there's some honest professionals that you would hope will kind of give him like the hairdryer treatment, because that's what he needs. Like he's not a young or like an inexperienced professional. He's played for Everton, and I think he was at loan at Southampton, and Southampton were flying. So he has Premiership experience. For him to do that shows disrespect to the fans, to the players, to the club, and I don't know if he'll even. Well, it's a little bit rash, but I can imagine Chris Wilder would be looking at him and thinking, I don't need this type of player playing for me week in, week out.
Yeah. He's damaged his career prospects for me. Like, he's not good enough to be getting away with stuff like that. And it's, as you say, like the last time he saw a challenge like that, I mean, outrageous. And he's done his teammates, he's done the fans. Like, I'd be so upset that, you know what I'm like with grudges. I'd never forgive. I'd never forgive for that. He's done everyone. But look, enough about Mason Holgate. Thank you everyone so much for watching. We're gonna try and do
Tabrice's
channel,
like you'll find it in the comments somewhere. So is it the Amateur Football?
Podcast? Yes. So it's the Amateur Football Podcast. I kind of talk to players, coaches, people that have been in the game about their journeys, their ups and downs. I do a little bit of charity work, do a couple of documentaries as well. On Monday, I have promised that I need you on my podcast, and it will happen, because I can only imagine the stories that you've got to share.
What about nights out?
And
Those are the most entertaining football stories I've got.
That Crime Watch one is an absolute banger on Monday. That's the best story you've got. All right. Well, thank you as always to Brice, who is welcome at any time he wants to come on. Next week, I'm going to try and look at patterns of play and more things like that. Tonight was a bit of an experiment. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Yeah, spending a night with us, and hopefully we'll have some great stuff to talk about against Fulham. But for now, that is us. That's us done. So thank you very much.